Just going back a little bit on the homeless situation, there's a really good channel called Invisible People where whoever runs the channel is basically going around Los Angeles and documenting and interviewing homeless people and their stories, the stories of why they're homeless. And I think that's a good reference because I think a common misconception of is that people are, homeless because they're like vets or they're on drugs. But people, it's a varying degrees of why. And a lot of it does have to have to do with immigration too, because what were you saying are illegal immigration too? Because I think as one of the reasons which causing people, sorry, lost my train of thought, was making it hard for people to live in Los Angeles is that a lot of the illegal immigrants that come over, they'll live maybe more than one person to an apartment. And they'll be able to afford the rent because everybody's pitching in on the rent, right?
Yeah, and let me say this because I have a son that lives down by Skid Row, so I'm very familiar what happens down on Skid Row, and those people doing those videos, girl, please don't believe nothing they say. All they do is drive through there. I walk through there. You will not get a white person, not one white person, and then some black people that go walk down there. They just drive through and they video record. I actually go into the buildings and I speak to these people. They don't hear what I hear. They don't hear about the young girl looking for her mama because her mama then been domestically violated. They don't hear about when I go into the buildings because I know the managers down there of women jumping out of the window to their death. They don't hear about that little girl that got raped in her room that night. Okay, got a train ran on her that night. They don't know about that black man that got stabbed in the neck the night before in his tent. Okay, they don't know about that person in that tent that got that OD'd. Okay, they don't tell the real stories around there. They don't even tell you about there's so many rats down there because no cats come down there. There's a bird now. It's called a big black heron bird that now comes and sits in the middle of Skid Row. They said it's like about 5 feet tall, and he's down there eating the rats down there. People don't actually go down there and know the stories about what's really going on down there, and it's nothing nice. It is nothing nice, and I've done video after video because I walk through there. I talk to our people, and they're like, "No, we're not criminals. We're not drug addicts, but that's the cheapest place they can stay because they can't find nowhere else to live, and they're gonna rent to a Hispanic before they rent to a black or white. Period." So, what is they supposed to do? And then, look at Hollywood. Look at all these other black people that live here in California. Do you see these blacks trying to help their own people like they used to get up off the street? They ain't trying to help. These Hispanics are now using them, and the Democrats are now using the illegal immigrants and the homeless to get votes. Because I'm a women's advocate for the downtown women's center down there on Skid Row. And we just had a meeting 2 weeks ago with the mayor where they're going to have voting polls in the shelters so the homeless people will have somewhere to vote. And who you going to think they're going to vote for is the Democrats, because the Republicans ain't going to go down to no Skid Row and talk to these people like these Democrats is willing to do to get their votes. And the homeless people, they got the transgenders, they got the legal immigrants, and whoever else, they could be high on drugs and tell them, yeah, just go in there and vote Democrat. So that's going to be a big problem for the Republicans if the Democrats got the homeless people and the legal immigrants voting Democrat. They can take the whole midterm election, but the Republicans, they missing that boat. But the Democrats, they own it. Trust me, I'm already all down there, and I see what they're doing. And they're Hispanics. They're Hispanic nonprofit organizations like that. Invisible People, that's a Hispanic nonprofit organization trying to take out the conservative. And they're using the LGBT civil rights, one of the big civil rights nonprofit organizations. They are having them help them to go sign the homeless people up to vote and show them where they can go vote come November. So this is what's going on in Los Angeles, California, and it could cost the Republicans the election here in Los Angeles. If they let the illegal immigrants and the homeless people vote, they're done.
I used to just show up at the voting polls. I was just thinking, you know, or say that they're going to prevent some people, some illegal immigrants from voting. I think that Beto definitely, his focus is on illegal immigrants because, you know, I went to his website and I'm like, why is his website in Spanish and English? And he's challenging Ted Cruz to a debate in Spanish. I'm like, but Americans don't speak Spanish.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
like what are you doing? Like, I don't, you know. Anyway, go on. What were you gonna say?
Me? Oh, I don't remember. Sorry. it was something about Ted Cruz. But yeah, I don't remember what it was though.
Okay, well, if you want to chime in later, we said homeless and infertility. Identity theft. Another issue that is on here is identity theft and taxes, IRS collusion, Social Security schemes. We kind of touched on welfare, but if anybody wants to comment on that, how does it affect Americans? And
I actually, go ahead, you fit.
Yeah, go on. That's it.
Okay. I was gonna say I actually didn't know until recently that that in order to get jobs and in order to like have a full life when they're illegal like that they basically have to steal Social Security numbers. I didn't know that. I was shocked. Like I don't know how many of them have to do this, but I noticed a lot do. I saw Tucker Carlson. There's this lady that she goes on often. I can't remember her name, but she's been on like all these like CNN shows, and she's like a hardcore liberal. And she got a job at like a really, really good job. Like she went to college, got like a good degree, made a lot of money. She's like the first Mexican to be hired at, I don't know what company it was like Macy's or something, like, and had like a really good position. And
I did not commit identity theft. As I said, the social that I used was completely fake. I absolutely wish that I didn't have to do that. I wish that there had been a pathway for me to become a permanent resident and eventually a citizen. I came here when I was 11 years old, and so I absolutely wish that there had been another way. But given the circumstances that I was in, that really was my only choice and my only option. And I did the best that I could with the circumstances that I had. And as you said, I became a vice president at Goldman Sachs and later became a director at Merrill Lynch.
Right. So you had no choice but to work at Goldman Sachs. I guess it sounds to me like, and congratulations on your success in this country, I think you'd be a little more grateful for the opportunities the country offered you. It sounds like you're blaming the country for laws that you don't like. You're saying with a straight face you had to violate our laws because they were unjust laws. Why did you have to violate our laws?
I can't remember her name, but she's been on like all these like CNN shows, and she's like a hardcore liberal. And she got a job at like a really, really good job. Like she went to college, got like a good degree, made a lot of money. She's like the first Mexican to be hired at, I don't know what company it was like Macy's or something, like, and had like a really good position. And she stole someone's ID, like to get her, stole someone's Social Security number. And so she's on Tucker Carlson and she's talking to him. And he's like, well, aren't you illegal? Like, how did you get this job? And she's like, oh, hi. Oh, did you see that? Who you seen that?
Yes, I seen that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck? Yeah,
they were so serious too. Y'all gotta see that video.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yes.
What's up, guys? Hey, we did that. We going to jail.
Mexican, what's poppin', bro?
What up, bro? It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you, brother. Hey, you know, I love you, brother. I've been following you, brother.
So what I missed?
Oh, Truth, you're on mute.
Yeah, you're on mute. Yeah, you're on mute.
When you're not talking, could you put your mic on mute? Concerned Mexican, when you're listening, could you put your mic on mute? Because we're trying to reduce the feedback.
Let me give a quick announcement for everybody in the chat room.
Hold on. Yeah.
For everybody in the chat room, I do have everybody's YouTube channel there. I'm just missing Kaila and
Kaila. I've been calling her Kaila. I'm Kaila. Kaila. It's Kaila. It's Kaila.
Gotcha.
I'm just messing her name up.
And then I forgot the name. Oh my goodness.
Raquel American Curls.
Okay. What's it called?
American Curls.
It's American Curls, but with 2 S's.
Yeah, she be right. I've seen your stuff on my feed a lot.
Yeah,
I love the chick. I see your ass all the time. It's like you pop up out of nowhere. Yeah, pop out of nowhere. Look, that's how I know my mister. He pop out of nowhere. I didn't know who you was, but you just popped up on my little new feed. Like, oh my goodness, what's up, brother? You know what I'm saying? That's good that we pop up. You know, let's keep popping up. God damn it. Shit.
Let's just catch conservative mixing up. We're talking about identity theft taxes, IRS collusion, Social Security schemes, welfare section. How does it affect Americans in regards to illegal immigration?
Okay, that's where you guys were at?
Yeah.
You want my take on that?
Yeah, if you want to. You don't have to.
I mean, my take on illegal immigration is just from a tax standpoint. It affects people so much more than you realize. Being that I've lived in California, there's so much tax dollars. There's so much identity theft that the average person doesn't even know about. I know I was at a city council meeting over SB 54, what's going on here in California, and some lady spoke up about how her daughter's Social Security was stolen, and she had over $10,000 in debt that she had to repay. So just across the board, as far as just taxes, welfare, identity theft, fraud, it's just the number we don't even know. And anytime that you try to look up numbers, the ACLU would do some kind of lawsuit. If you try, they'll say that the police are profiling. Just anything that you do to try and talk about the subject of illegal immigration, they just shut you down. And you truly don't know how bad it is. I know you, Truther, you're from LA, right? So you know a little bit more than the rest of the people, but it's so bad out here. It's ridiculous. And the people just hide behind, well, we just have to have compassion. And it's truly a tragedy.
Man, I cannot wait for you and Renzo to have a conversation, because Renzo, he goes off about California. Like, and it got me to the point where I see California as priority number one as far as, exposing what's going on as far as all the stuff going on in California. So y'all be telling me some stuff I couldn't imagine that happened in Atlanta or Philadelphia, but it's crazy over there from what y'all telling me.
Yeah, it's really bad. And that's the only reason why I started doing my videos, was because it's like the rest of the country's blind to it because they don't see it. It doesn't really affect their state, but little by little, it's starting to get bad in like Texas, especially New York, New Mexico, Nevada, even Utah is starting to get a little more blue. But illegal immigration, and it's just because of the population increase. Anytime you have big population numbers, there's going to be more poverty and more of an ability for government to go in there and say, hey, this is what we need to do as far as educating your children. If you don't have any money, we can give you this, Section 8 and welfare. And it gets to a point where even the most rational person who doesn't like government will go, okay, well, times are that bad, so I don't want to take handouts, but I'm going to do it. But as far as illegal immigrants go, even a lot of them that are in California, there are so many of them, because they're undocumented and because they have stolen IDs, they're working under the table, and they're getting paid cash, and they're getting welfare, WIC, Section 8. So there's so much wealth. And me personally, I'm not trying to throw race into any of that. I noticed how when Trump was running for office, and we would talk about situations in the black community, a lot of Hispanics would go, I don't give a fuck about them. They don't even like us. And I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that kind of racist? Like, aren't we supposed to love everybody? Like, that's the whole motto is prosperity for everyone. And being in California, Hispanics couldn't give 2 cents about what happens to the black community. And as a Hispanic, I was like, that's not right. It shouldn't be that way. And I definitely want to talk to Renzo more, because I know he's more in LA. But it's bad out here, pretty bad.
I'm in LA. I deal with it every day. So I know exactly what you're talking about because, you know, as I was out there as a political candidate and then, you know, boots on the ground, you know, I see and deal with the illegal immigration, you know, situation. And, you know, I've even went over there and I've spoken with a couple of the head gang members over there in the Inglewood and Compton area, and they're waiting on ICE to come clean out their, you know, neighborhoods of these illegal immigrants because they are attacking Black people, and you know, and they don't like Blacks, and I've experienced this, you know, myself. And they're, you know, are putting the Blacks homeless on Skid Row, and then they want rent to them because I actually also experienced for 6 months. I looked for a place for 6 months, and every time I went to go look at a place, there was a long line of Hispanics that got the place, and then I went back to see who rented the place, who they gave the place to, and it was a Hispanic family. So they are renting to their own people and will not rent to Blacks or whites, because, you know, like I said, the same situation that happened to me in my apartment complex. I seen them threatening and harassing us, and these are the facts that people aren't comprehending, but the ones like myself that are out here living it and seeing it. And then, you know, they're also they run the Social Security Administration. They're all employed there. They're employed at the Department of Social Services, so they're hooking up, you know, their own people. You know, they're working for, you know, the mayor. They're working for the state agencies. They're working all, you know, this is all Hispanics, and they're working together. They're opening up nonprofits, and they're all, you know, coming together and leaving the American people out here to suffer and die, you know, all on their own. And they talk about the Me Too. What about all these girls that are getting homeless, that are American women that are getting raped, murdered, and killed because they don't have no roof over their heads? Okay, where's the Me Too movement for that? Okay, so, you know, there's a lot of hypocritical stuff going on out here, and California is in a state of emergency, and no one, the conservatives out here aren't doing anything. They won't go, because I've asked as a politician, prior politician, I've asked for help to help the homeless people. These people talk a good game out here, but when it comes down to helping those people, they want to brand them as criminals, drug addicts, you know, and felons. So, you know, this is a lot of what's going on, but, you know, no one is seeing the real picture that a lot of us, you know, like conservative Mexican and myself are seeing here in Los Angeles.